charged into me. And no one warned him, no one took any points for him. What am I to do? This is my career. I can't continue getting butted like that. I got children to raise. And this guy keeps butting me, trying to cut me and get me stopped on cut. I got to retaliate.
The whole thing is that it's just an easy way to get out the fight, the foul, because you know you're going to get disqualified instead of fighting through. That don't show no courage whatsoever. Everybody know how to get out of the fight. All you have to do is foul. You get yourself out, then you can say, well, he didn't beat me.
Disqualification for the second foul. I told him, do not do that again. If you do, you're gone.
Tupac was one of the first people to break Hollywood and do movies and whatever, sell 5 million records. It's hard for rap artists to do that, especially with it being his 3rd or 4th album. I think it's his 3rd album. But what I'm saying, it's hard to do your 3rd album and sell 5 million joints. If you in this rap game, you know what I'm talking about, you understand what I'm saying? And it's hard to get into movies and be a good actor at this, you know what I'm saying? I just think overall we lost one of the best artists in this little rap game it is.
Something for my God, Sandy Live. 2 weeks since the death of Tupac Shakur. He died on September the 13th, 1996. In these past 2 weeks, his death has been the topic of conversation on news programs, radio programs, television programs, and street corner buzz everywhere. There's a lot of theories going around about Tupac's death. Some people even saying that he's not dead, he's just in exile. And I guess that's to dispel some of the negative press that's around Tupac's life. Well, I don't know what the case is. Today, we're just going to get into the music and the genius that was Tupac, still is Tupac. We're going to start it off with the group that introduced him to the world, Digital Underground. And this is the same song on Rap City.
Tupac has so much power. To me, he's like a young Marvin Gaye. I think everybody will remember where they were when they heard the news about Tupac. I think everybody's going to remember the date, the time. It's going to affect everybody. His music is going to become classics. Tupac was just the bomb. I mean, Tupac was just himself, free to be him. He didn't care what nobody had to say about him. He was being himself. He was a sweet person, a kind person, but nobody could change his mind about the lyrics he wanted to write or the image he wanted to portray. He was just the person he wanted to be.
You know, like his controversy made a lot of white people who didn't know about the rap industry pay attention, whether they thought it was positive or negative. Who cares what they think? We getting our cheese. I just want to say, Pac, you know what I'm saying? Love you. Brat gonna miss you, man.
Personally, you know, to me, it just kind of hurt my feelings because Tupac, in my beginning stages of doing music, he reminded me a lot of myself as far as story form music, like Brenda's Got a Baby and, you know, things of that nature, and Soulja Story. Like, a lot of people don't even know about Tupacalypse now, you know, so I've been listening to him for quite some time, and to me, that was Tupac's heart, you know what I'm saying? He was very compassionate and caring and talented, you know what I'm saying? Very talented. And he definitely had purpose. His life served a purpose and his death served a purpose, but you know, you live to die, you die to live again, and the only reason why we got guidelines and morals that we try to live by is because there is something after this.
Was shot and then like later on down the line they said he had passed away. It was like real shocking, but I feel that what the Lord does is like put things in front of you to show you like lessons. I mean, like goes back to even the easy thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because children, they look up, and not just children, but like people our age, you know what I'm saying, they look up to the people that they see on the TV screen and what they hear. And I just think it was a big lesson, you know.
He was like very intelligent, and to me, like, society and people who always talk bad about him had the wrong vision of what kind of person he really was. I mean, everybody has done crazy things before or get put off in the wrong situations with the wrong type of people and wrong surroundings, but he's not a bad person. To me, I think he had a lot of sense, and he was very intelligent. He was a major actor. I mean, he was just, like, so talented. And to me, he was like the Michael Jackson of rap.
There are still no arrests in the case. The rap music star died of his wounds Friday at a hospital in Las Vegas. Today, fans and detractors of Shakur's violent music and lifestyle reflected on his death. Here's ABC's Antonio Mora.
Who will weep for Tupac? 2Pac Shakur was mourned today at the Brooklyn church he attended as a boy, mourned by those who see him as a victim in a society where murder is the leading cause of death for young black men.
This is a wake-up call. This is our opportunity to kind of check ourselves as a community and understand that violence and a lifestyle that isn't as responsible as it could be could lead to this kind of thing.
Shakur lived what he called the thug life, surviving another shooting 3 years ago, arrested frequently, and convicted of sexual abuse and assault. His gangsta rap lyrics exploded with the rage of a rough life lived on the edge.
He was just telling it like it is, and he, and unfortunately in the hood, that's the way a lot of young lives end, and his ended that same way.
But critics say he dangerously glorified violence and profanity.
It makes it very hard to counteract the kind of message that's being sent to young children like this and younger who can, quote those lyrics from start to finish but may not know their ABC.
Shakur's murder had all the markings of a gang-style hit, but police so far are stymied, in part because they've received almost no help from Shakur's associates who may have witnessed the killing. Police now fear retaliation and worry the crime may never be solved. This mural on Manhattan's Lower East Side reflects the feeling of the many who do not weep for Shakur, people who believe he was just another violent rapper who died the way he lived, proving tragically that violence will only lead to more violence. Antonio Mora, ABC News, New York.
When we come back, marriage in the 90s and what it means to the younger generation.
Newsweek magazine quotes police sources on that, but police say the motive for the gang shooting on Friday is unknown. Shakur died Friday from wounds suffered in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. ABC's Antonio Mora reports on how Shakur is being remembered.
Hospital at the age of 25. Controversy surrounding 2pac's life, however, has lived on. So we called in rapper Tretch of Naughty by Nature, a close friend of 2Pac since their days as roadies, Tretch with Clean Latifah, 2Pac with Digital Underground, to hash over the events of the past year.
No fairy tales for this young black male. Some see me stranded in this land of hell, jail, and crack. Keep your head up.
We can feel where that man came from. His suffering and his pain is the same suffering and pain we going through.
I wish I had a chance to actually meet Tupac. His music meant a lot for our people.
In the years since the death of 2Pac Shakur, the emotions his murder stirred up have quieted. But the debate over his legacy, who he was and who he might have become, has begun to rage. Was he a gangster who kept it real all the way to an early grave? A James Dean-style cultural rebel? Or was he? Might he have become a political voice for the dispossessed, in the tradition of Malcolm X? Only now are those questions starting to emerge, after a year in which, at least in the minds of many fans, 2Pac was still very much alive.
Look, y'all can watch. I feel so confident and so sure about the man that I am that you can watch me when I fall, when I cry, when I get shot, when I go to jail, when I die. You can watch it.
Maybe it was because everyone did watch, and because 2Pac had spoken about death so frequently, that his murder seemed somehow both expected and unreal. Just another chapter in his dramatic autobiography. 4 days after he died, 2Pac's label, Death Row Records, released I Ain't Mad At You. That set the tone for a year in which release after release of 2Pac's records, films, and videos showed 2Pac in violent, even deadly situations, but never dealt with the reality of his brutal death. Rumors that he was still alive burgeoned in November, once fans got their hands on the cryptic notations inside the posthumously released Machiavelli album. Some even suggested that 2Pac had taken the real Machiavelli's advice and faked his own death.
Right now, it's like he's the Black Elvis. You know what I mean? Yo, I seen Pop. He out there. He's somewhere.
I mean, you have an album with Machiavelli, at the heart of it, and Machiavelli, faking your own death, and people ascribe, rightfully so, tremendous intelligence to 2Pac. But I think what they're trying to do is avoid the fact that if you deal with bullets and guns and you get brutal, you die.
People in general who feel that gangster rap is dead. My album is going to show you that gangster rap is not dead, because I plan to keep it alive.
1 year ago, Death Row Records had a sound and a reputation unlike any contemporary record company. 2Pac was the label's newest and brightest star, willingly molded into the very epitome of the gangster rapper. Without him, Snoop was again thrust to the forefront, but his long-awaited second album failed to make an impression, especially when released just a week after the hyper-vitriolic Machiavelli.
kill. Who can you trust? Only time reveals.
Meanwhile, the night that was the beginning of the end for Tupac may also have marked the beginning of the end for Death Row. Label head Suge Knight was sent to prison for a probation violation, thanks to a videotaped altercation just hours before the shooting. Federal investigators continued to probe Death Row's alleged gang ties and its illegitimate business practices, while the company's mighty stable of rappers was suddenly dwindling, turning what was once America's most profitable independent label into the music industry's most chaotic and unstable commodity in just 12 months.
If I die or whatever, it can happen. If anything would have happened to me, it's about 3 albums ready. And I like that.
When you think the end could be near, you gonna want the people, you gonna want the world to know everything that you got inside. That's why he stayed in the studio. He stayed making something new, because he had so much in a little time to tell.
Tupac left behind over 170 tracks and several hundred unpublished poems. But someone needs to cultivate that raw material into a legacy. With potentially lucrative tracks and substantial revenue yet to be earned from his image, there's been tremendous legal wrangling over his estate.
Just 6 weeks after his death, Tupac's mother, Afeni Shakur, filed suit against Death Row Records to stop it from selling unlicensed Tupac merchandise. She would later file another suit against the label, charging that it was withholding millions in royalties from the Shakur estate. Death Row responded that Tupac actually owed the label money to repay cash advances it claimed he'd spent on cars and jewelry. Suddenly, it seemed as if everyone wanted a piece of Tupac, from his natural father, who had abandoned the family when he was 4 and now wanted half of his son's estate, to his chief cultural critic, C. Dolores Tucker, who claimed that just one reference to her in one of Tupac's songs was worth $10 million in damages.
As one other rapper, Houdini said, the freaks come out at night. And in the midst of the dark night of his soul, many people have come forth to claim this legacy who honestly just don't deserve it.
Essentially, we have 2 to 4 black males who are inside the vehicle, and we have no further description.
The Las Vegas police investigation into Tupac's murder never got much further. In March, MTV News reported that Shakur's murder had touched off a gang war in Compton, California, and that Compton police informants had heard that Orlando Anderson, the same man who was beaten by Knight and Shakur at the MGM Grand, was the trigger man in the Shakur killing. The day after our report aired, Anderson spoke briefly to CNN.
And I just wanted to let everybody know, you know what I'm saying, I didn't do it.
Las Vegas police did briefly consider Anderson a suspect, but have since all but closed down their investigation, saying officially that they think they know who killed Tupac, but don't expect to get enough evidence to ever make an arrest.
Look, they could kill somebody else. They find the person the next day. You got 2 of the biggest hip-hoppers out there. Don't nobody know nothing.
The March murder of the notorious B.I.G. was instantly and unavoidably compared with Tupac's murder 6 months earlier. Both were drive-by shootings after high-profile events. Both left police with few leads. Where Tupac's death sparked little public sentiment from his label mates, Biggie's friends rushed to memorialize their man in a public way.
First, I'd like to say I wish we never had to make this record, and I wish we never had to make this video, but that's our reality. And B.I.G. will never forget you.
That's how you're supposed to put it down. Your homie go, you're supposed to put it down for him. Keep his name on the streets. No doubt.
Sadly, it took a full year for the first major dedication to Tupac to hit the airwaves.
It's like the purpose behind this record, I really didn't see him sent off, you know what I mean, just right, the way I thought, you know what I mean?
You's a wild, sweet brother who could never sit still. Said you couldn't rest till you seen a mill. Homie, I felt you. We was back and forth from borough to project with force. Damn, I wish they knew how much you love New York.
Besides paying tribute, Tretch and the other keepers of Tupac's flame hope that Tupac will be remembered as a communicator and not just an instigator.
People got to listen to Pac. There's so much that he said and was saying that just, that touched and like really hit emotions that a lot of us go through every day, no matter what you're doing, no matter what